Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back again with another episode of our new season of the Magnificent Seven Rides Again. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to have back with me Nancy Huffman. Nancy, welcome.
Thank you for having me back today.
Nancy, I wanted to start off by asking you about your reflections on the show that concluded in early October.
Rides Again show was again a great success, and we're always happy to be able to exhibit our work in the community. We have a lot of friends, and we meet new friends that come by and are become acquainted with our work. It's always funny now. Just this past weekend, I was at another art opening, and somebody hears, "Oh, you're with the Magnificent Seven," so it's like our reputation precedes us now. So that's kind of been a funny thing.
So I was lucky enough to be there on the opening day,
Mhm.
and there seemed to be really a lot of energy. Did you feel that as one of the artists?
Yes, very much so. I'm sure you're referring to the reception
Right.
that you're talking about. Yes. It was great. I mean, there's so many people that come through. That day's always a lot of fun because it's just more festive. We have food there as well as just people that are coming to support us. Our family is always there. And like I said, we meet new friends. So it's always great.
A couple of the women talked about one weekend where a group who had come in to see the Museum of Western Art exhibit with
Mhm.
Kwang Ho and Scott Christensen actually came over and they were really thrilled by that group coming to
Mhm.
see your group's work. Is that your experience as well?
Unfortunately, I wasn't there that day. It would have been really very exciting. I know my friends, the rest of the Magnificent Seven that were there that day, they were totally over the moon about that. We a couple of the people like Laura and I have been painting in Big Bend with another group called the Outdoor Painters Society of Texas. And so we know a few people from that world as well. So they were there because they had come down to see that exhibit as well. And they didn't know anything about us being at the KACC. So wish I'd been there.
Were you part of the group that live painted?
No, I was gone for that too. I had family issues going on in Arkansas with both my mother and my brother, so I was not able to be there.
So,
So
what about some of the people that came through? And I always ask this question. Do you get questions from the people who are attending about your art, your particular work, the things that you do? And did you see the 8-year-old girl, the 8-year-old boy who's just standing there wide eyed and see something that maybe they've never seen before or that no one
mhm,
else has seen? Tell
mhm.
us about that part of your experience.
I mean, every year I try to do something just a little bit different. Of course, it's all my same style that I'm working with, but sometimes it's the older piece, the kind of one of my go-to pieces. Like I do rabbits and foxes, and the children, that's what they're really drawn to because I try to make them somewhat whimsical, even though they're still realistic, but there's more color involved with them. And those are really the pieces that the children are drawn to. A lot of adults too, for that matter. But this year I did more domestic animals, cows and donkeys and things like that, just to add.
So what did you either feel or really do sort of the last 2 weeks of October after the show's closed? Did you take a deep breath? Did you keep going? You mentioned you had some family things going on. What was your life like after the show closed, maybe from the artistic perspective?
Even though I was at that time involved with a lot of family things that were going on, you still got all this going on in your head about what you're doing next, where you're going with it. I've always got the next show coming up and what I'm gonna do for the show in the following years. So you're always as an artist, you spend a tremendous amount of your time thinking forward, what you're going to be doing, what you're doing to make this better, to improve upon what you've been doing, some new challenging subject matter, some new media, some, just all sorts of different things, which is one of the things that's really great about art. Um, there's always something new to explore to keep you reaching for something new.
So we're recording this in
Mhm.
mid-December, and I really was intrigued by what does it mean to you to see the seasons change? And how does that impact your art in obviously October, we started to have some trees change, although
Mhm.
we had so much rain this year, it stayed green for a long time. We're now probably in early part of winter, and we've had more trees change, not as much brown as I would have expected yet, but how do you see things differently than perhaps you saw them in the summer?
I see everything as a painting. Potentially, everything is subject matter. So just even looking out of my backyard, just noticing that the trees changed at a different rate and their color. Like the first year we were here, we have 2 oak trees right behind our deck, and it was a year that it was really rainy, but it got cold earlier, and they were brilliant red. It's never been quite that red since then. This year, they were more of an orange, but everything is always a new experience, I guess. Even though it's the same time of year, there's always different, and there's always gorgeous sunsets to watch every day, and it's always unique. It's never like it was before.
What about as we move really into, for Texas, or at least the hill country, our heavy winter months, January and February, where the leaves are down and people think everything's dead? Do you still see those colors?
You still see colors, they're just more subtle. Yeah, but there's always color. And as an artist, you're always like, I'm always thinking about how would I mix that color? And you're always starting from your primary colors. How would I get to that color? And how would I bring out the color that I see in my head so that somebody else can experience that?
So when you're actually physically painting, are you painting what's in your head? Are you painting a photograph you may have taken that's on your cell phone? What's your process?
It's a combination, really. I will have photographs that I've taken that provide me with a structure to start with, but there's a lot of things that get changed up along the way. A tree is not in the right place for the best composition, so you move things around, you change the colors up. Sometimes I will just amp up the colors uh, so that it reflects more of what I'm experiencing in my head. So there's always changes because I never want a painting to look like a photograph. That's just me. I know there are a lot of artists that do that and they can do gorgeous, stunning work. But to me, I that's not what I'm about. I want a painting to look like a painting. I want it to reflect something different.
Let's turn to 2025 and
Mhm.
maybe Q1 of 2025. Do you have any upcoming shows you could tell us about?
I have some that I need to reschedule that I had planned for the fall and got side railed just because of family issues. So I intend to go back to Pint and Plow, but I don't have a date in mind just yet. I have a whole series of paintings that are based on the Upper Guadalupe that I will be showing there. And then I also am going to reschedule a showing at Grape Juice, and that's all going to be animals and wildflowers and things like that too, some cactus thrown in there, but it's gonna be all flora and fauna. So,
Grape Juice seems to be a great supporter of local artists.
they really are. They have some magnificent shows there, and they always have. I love to go in there not only for the food, but just to see the art, whoever's on the walls at that point in time.
So if we could move through the year, do you have
Mhm.
any before the Magnificent Seven 2025 premieres? Do you have any other what you would call big shows?
Those 2 were the only ones that I have scheduled at this point in time. Now we will be doing, again, the Hunt show in the summer, and it will coincide with the closing camp dates, just like it did last year. So it'll be
Right,
before July 4th, like the weekend that is before it.
right.
So that'll be good. But this year it's really great because we have our dates further ahead of time. That's what I need to get on the stick with now and get all our artists lined up. Some of the ones from the Magnificent Seven, of course, will be there. And then we also have other groups or other artists from the Hunt community. And like we did last year, we're reaching a little bit further out. We're now the Hill Country artist rather than the Hunt community artist. So that gives us a lot more leeway to bring more artists in.
And then are you thinking about the Magnificent Seven 2025?
I haven't quite gotten there yet with what I'm going to paint for that yet,
Will it
but
be something new?
It'll be something new, totally.
Some
I mean, it's
things
still
new.
yeah, it'll still be based on hill country, things that we have around here, but I haven't really decided on what kind of a theme at this point, so, yeah.
Nancy, unfortunately, we're near the end of our time, but I wanted to thank you again, and I greatly look forward to seeing, what you come up with in the new year.
Always enjoy coming back for the podcast. It's a great opportunity, and we thank you for having us here every year.
Great.